morning viewers, Mike here. We put off this pallet fork attachment long enough. Let's get started. It's September and it's not unusual for it to be warm, but boy, it's hot out here, and you can see my shirt's starting to stick to my back already. And what we're doing is we're using the male portion of the attachment on the tractor as kind of a jig to set up the female portion of the attachment. I don't know the proper term for the female portion of the attachments. I call them the nests. It's really important at this point to take your time and get these things fit up really well. Otherwise, you're going to have a world of problems in the future. So I'm pretty happy with the way the nests are fit up so far, so I'll start tacking them in place. Usually on anything I make, ahead of time I'll take the time to work out the details so I can get the material all put together, and I'll know exactly where I'm going. On this one I'm just sort of winging it. We'll see how this turns out. So here I'm checking it again, and I can see right now that I've got some gaps that are pretty large, but we can fill those in, and it'll be plenty strong. And we'll add a few more tacks here. These two plates are for the bottom of the nests, and they have to have notches in them because that's where the latch pins come through and engage. And I've got the notch laid out on these, and I'm just drilling out the corners, and you'll see why in just a moment. You can see I'm using soluble oil for my cutting fluid, and I use it whenever I can. It has a better cooling effect than oil does, and when it evaporates, the water evaporates out of it, leaves a fine oil film on your equipment and your workpieces, and you don't have much rust problem with that. And so now we'll saw down the layout line to the relief holes. So if you've seen any of my other videos, you know that I use my saw whenever I can. Saw blades are cheaper than end mills and normally faster. I could have put both plates together and sawed them at the same time, but for some reason I didn't. So now that I've got the sides sawed out, I've put both plates together and put them in my mill vise, and I will chop mill the bottom of this slot out. I think the proper term is plunge milling. You're seeing the video in 8 times speed. This is a 1/2 inch regrind end mill, and I hate to use it on this job. It's kind of a nice long end mill, but it's the only one I had, so that's what I had to use. And now the notches are cut out and these plates are ready to weld in place. And we begin by putting some tacks on these bottom plates. A little confession now, I goofed up on the length of these nest plates. So I had to add in these little pieces so I didn't have to fill in a 1/2 inch gap. So anyway, it cost me about 2 hours of rework. I'm removing the clamp so I can finish welding. into the shop to weld them. That's a lot cooler in there. And now we've got the nest boxes up on the bench and we're getting ready to weld the solid. But first, I'm going to tack weld these two pieces of rectangular tubing to the sides to hold dimension. It may not be necessary, but we're not going to take any chances. Okay, let's put the beans to this old girl. So we have these nest boxes done, and next we'll bring the tractor back up and we'll put these up in place and begin to build the framework. We'll end part 1 here, so stay tuned for part 2. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. See you later.